Hello everyone and welcome back to SFF180. It is Monday morning, March the 23rd, and time once again for the mailbag. I hope everybody has been keeping themselves safe and healthy. I hope you've been staying home. I hope you haven't been like all of these clowns going out to bars and beaches and house parties. You've been doing your part to flatten the curve. We'll all get through this. But yeah, it's a kind of a dull period if it weren't for all the books that we have to read while we are stuck at home for however many weeks we have to be stuck at home. And so in terms of the mailbag last week, I know on the previous episode I said I have no idea how the mailbag is going to shake out over the next few weeks because publicists are either working from home or they've shut down for a while, what have you. But yeah, we had a pretty normal one. So I've got about, 6 or 7 packages here this week. So let's have a look and see what there is, shall we? Okay, this first one I have is a little box from the folks at Blackstone Publishing. Okay, this is different. This is the arc for a book coming out in September, doesn't give an exact date, called Second Chance Angel. Says it's the first volume in something called the Last Stop Station series, and the authors are Griffin Barber and Casey Ezell. And you see a young lady on the cover who appears to be singing, so I couldn't find a sell sheet inside this, so I'm just going to have to read it this way. A war vet and an AI race to unravel a deadly conspiracy before shadowy foes succeed in destroying both of them. After a devastating galactic war, disgraced veteran Ralston Muck ekes out a living as a bouncer at Last Stop Station's premier nightclub, A Curtain of Stars. Night after night, he listens to the club's star performer, Siren, sing her memories and ease some of his aching loss. But when Siren goes missing, Muck finds himself drawn into a world of dirty cops, drug lords, and conspiracies that trace back to the war itself. The only person he can trust isn't even human. Angel, Siren's personal AI, was ripped from the singer's mind the night Siren disappeared. With no idea what has happened to her human host, and pursued by a killer virus, Angel flees to Muck for answers. Together they struggle to comprehend the conspiracy that entangles both their lives. Can Muck and the angel on his shoulder recover Siren before it's too late, or will he lose everything that matters to him one more time? Okay, it sounds sort of like a noirish SF with a little bit of a romance take on it. It could be pretty interesting. In any way, it does sound like a neat sort of genre-bending exercise. But Second Chance Angel comes out from Blackstone Publishing in September. Okay, so the next 3 packages are in these little white envelopes, which, as you know, come from Macmillan, and most of them are probably Tor titles. And we're starting out this week with the finished copy in hardcover of The Last and Procs by John Scalzi. This will be out April the 14th in hardcover from Tor, and it is the final volume in his Interdependency trilogy, which started out with The Collapsing Empire and The Consuming Fire. I'll be reviewing this one really, really soon. But let's see. Though set hundreds of years in the future, The Last and Procs explores some of the philosophical and political challenges we may face even in this day and age. But it's told as an escapist saga with excitement and humor. Scalzi has created a realistic and fascinating world that echoes our own, with strong and diverse female characters, including Emprox Greyland herself. Greyland and her thinning list of allies must use every tool at their disposal to save as many of her people from impoverished isolation, while the selfish forces opposing her rule will make a final desperate push to topple her from her throne and power by any means necessary. Will Greyland become the savior of her civilization, or the last Emprox to wear the crown? Well, we will find out on April the 14th. Okay, my mistake. Sorry, it looks like it's only 2 Tor packages this week, but let's forge on. And this is a new hardcover called The Glass Magician. The author is Carolyn Stevermer, and this comes out April the 21st. And it says it's reminiscent of The Golem and the Genie. The Glass Magician by Carolyn Stevermer is a magical and romantic tale set in New York's Gilded Age. New York, 1905. In Gilded Age New York City, the Vanderbilts, the Astors, and the rest of the elite own the nation on the cusp of a new century. And in a society divided between the solitaires, humans without transformative powers, and traders, those with the ability to transform into an animal at will, the upper echelon of society are secure in their place among the traders of society. The Glass Magician tells the story of Thalia Cutler, an orphaned stage performer who has been dazzling audiences with magic acts for her entire young life. Without any family connections of her own, she's had to rely on her charm and talent alone. One night, a trip goes horribly awry, and Thalia discovers her own ability to trade when she turns her arm into a wing to escape certain death. Thalia must learn to control her power in order to take her place among the rich and powerful traders of society, and her life really does depend on it as the real monsters descend to feast. And now I'm confused because literally on the same page, on the same front sheet here of this sell sheet, it says both on sale April the 21st and on sale April the 7th. Like literally on the same. So pick a date. It'll be here. But The Glass Magician by Carolyn Stevermer, for those of you who love Gilded Age fantasy. All right, and this next book, which I initially mistook for a Tor title, is actually a Nightshade book, and this is called Breath of Gods. The author is Tina LeCount Myers, and this appears to be the third and final volume in her epic fantasy trilogy, The Legacy of the Heavens. And looking through it, I didn't really see any sell sheet. Previous volumes included The Song of All and Dreams of the Dark Sky. But it goes like this. There are a lot of epic fantasy names here, proper names that are difficult, if not impossible, to pronounce. But it goes like this. In the Northlands of Daviana, power rests in the hands of the High Priest of the Order of Believers, but his earthly supremacy is contested. Those few, hard to pronounce name, that remain continue to honor the oath of the Brethren of Hunters, protect the Olmosh people from danger. This time, however, it is not the immortal guy with a very hard to pronounce name who represent a threat to human freedom, but their own kind. Against insurmountable odds, this small band of dedicated men will use any and all means open to them to bring down the man who betrayed them all. Okay, so you get the idea. It is that kind of large-scale, epic, secondary world heroic fantasy. But the trilogy concludes, I guess this is out nowish, a March title from Nightshade Books, Breath of Gods. And next up, Random Penguin. And this is the finished copy in hardcover from Del Rey Books of Bonds of Brass, New Space Opera by Emily Skrutsky. This is available April the 7th. And this is being sold and marketed as an adult SF novel, but the way it looks and the way this reads, it seems super YA. Emily Skrutsky herself has done, her previous novels have all been YA, but it goes like this. A young pilot risks everything to save his best friend, the man he trusts most and might even love, only to learn that his friend is secretly the heir to a brutal galactic empire. Etienne's life was shattered when the merciless Umber Empire invaded his world. He spent 7 years putting himself back together under its rule, joining an Umber military academy and becoming the best pilot in his class. Even better, he's met Gal, his exasperating and infuriatingly enticing roommate who's made the academy feel like a new home. But when dozens of classmates spring an assassination plot on Gal, a devastating secret comes to light. Gal is the heir to the Umber Empire. Etienne barely manages to save his best friend and flee the compromised academy unscathed, rattled that Gal stands to inherit the empire that broke him, and that there are still people willing to fight back against Umber rule. As they piece together a way to deliver Gal safely to his throne, Etienne finds himself torn in half by an impossible choice. Does he save the man who's won his heart, and trust that Gal's goodness could transform the empire, or does he throw his lot in with the brewing rebellion and fight to take back what is rightfully theirs? See what I mean? This is YA AF, okay? But that doesn't mean that it can't be a very fun book for people who like this sort of thing. So this is out April the 7th from Del Rey Books, Bonds of Brass by Emily Skrutsky. And next up, I have something unusual for my channel. This is a small press book. The author is R.A. George, and this is called Nadine Im Sky. And the author messaged me himself about this, and I don't always accept these, but he seemed like a really nice guy, and the book seemed interesting. And apparently he is offering this one for this entire week. The digital version on Amazon is free. So if you want to check it out. But it goes like this. Mother Earth lies in ruins. Over 1,000 of its children have fled, seeking a new life away from their ravaged home on the new unspoilt Eden of Magdur. But they don't realize that something rotten awaits, a darkness ready to wreak havoc, a deadly secret that will soon force everyone to confront their deepest fears, question their core beliefs, and engage in a desperate fight for survival as they attempt to survive under the Nadine Im Sky. All right then, so there you have it. By R.A. George, and as I said, this is up on Amazon now and free digitally all this week on your Kindle. And this final package is a big old chunker from Random Penguin, and I cannot tell if there are 1 or 2 books in it. Could go either way, so let's open it up and see. Okay, turns out this was only 1 book, but it is a massive, massive tome. Big ol' heavy thing. As you see, I'm having to hold it up with 2 hands. This is a new anthology by Jeff and Anna Vandermeer. There you go, Thomas. And this is the Big Book of Modern Fantasy. So this follows up on their previous anthology, the Big Book of Classic Fantasy. They've been doing quite a few of these for Vintage Press. And this one comes out, it says, July the 21st. But from Anna and Jeff Vandermeer comes the Big Book of Modern Fantasy, a true hoard of tales, sure to delight fans, scholars, even the greediest of dragons. Okay. Yeah, well over 800 pages, and such a big book in terms of its formatting that the text is printed in 2 columns, like a magazine. Wow. Well, let's have a look really quickly at the contents page. And see who, well, good grief, yeah. Wow, okay, I can't even begin to list everything. Yeah, the contents page is actually 4 pages. And, well, suffice to say, everybody's in it, okay? We'll just do it like that. But it looks like it's going to be a hell of an anthology. It'll take weeks even to scratch the surface of it, reading it. But it will be available from Vintage on July the 21st, the Big Book of Modern Fantasy. And there you have it. That's what I've got for the mailbag this week. You guys know the drill. Light up those comments. Let me know which of these looks most interesting and exciting to you, and which you would like to see me prioritize for review. Otherwise, if you enjoyed watching, please hit that like button, share the video far and wide with all of your SFF reading friends, and above all, please subscribe if you haven't done so. That's how the channel grows. You can also support the channel at my TeePublic store and at my Patreon, where recruits into Wink's Army get little perks like getting to see some of my videos early access. I want to thank all those wonderful people for their added support. It is greatly appreciated, especially in times like these. I want to thank all the rest of you for being the very best viewers in all of BookTube, and until I see all of you next time, stay safe and healthy and happy reading.